Billions of invisible doctors. Did you know that there's more foreign DNA inside your body than your own? Yes, even if you're perfectly healthy. How is that possible? In one word, bacteria. We each house 2 to 5 pounds of live bacteria in our bodies. The largest concentration of bacteria is found in our intestines, and as you might have guessed, some of this bacteria is helpful, some is harmful. As long as there's more beneficial bacteria than harmful ones, our immune system can properly do its job without difficulties. The problem appears when bad bacteria and viruses multiply and organize themselves. You see, bacteria and viruses are quite intelligent. They use something called quorum sensing to coordinate their gene expression, the same mechanism insects use to swarm and nest. To help us in the battle with bad bacteria and viruses, our doctors may prescribe antibiotics or antiviral medicines. The name of antibiotic comes from anti, which means against, and bio, which means life. So antibiotics are basically anti-life. The problem with them is that they target both helpful and harmful bacteria, so after a couple of weeks of antibiotics, our helpful bacteria is also incredibly damaged, and this creates problems like yeast infections, impaired digestion, and more. So antibiotics are in fact damaging our gut and our ability to digest food and extract nutrients. That also impairs our thinking and judgment because our guts are constantly talking to our brains. In fact, 90% of the neurotransmitter called serotonin is found in the gut. Serotonin makes us feel happy, so once our gut flora is destroyed, episodes of depressions can start. Not to mention that we will have a hard time assimilating our much-needed protein and minerals. This is where probiotics come into play. Probiotics are like invisible doctors who run a pharmacy inside our bodies. Probiotics help us digest our food better, fight yeast infections, produce B and K vitamins performing biological transmutation. They keep our digestive systems clean by improving digestion and elimination. They balance our hormones and they boost immunity by keeping unfriendly bacteria under control and acting as soldiers. The most important probiotic. Enzymes.
Hey, Professor. Just the other day, I saw this small man swallow an entire steak bigger than the size of his head. And it got me to thinking, how could he possibly digest all that in just a few hours?
Well, the steak is first chewed in the mouth into bits and pieces that fall into the stomach. You might already know that the stomach contains a powerful acid that can dissolve even metals. But what you did not know is that this acid is not what ultimately breaks down the steak. No, it's very tiny and special molecules called enzymes that do the job. Strangely, these enzymes find the stomach acid a cozy place to work in.
Whoa! It's like small piranhas finishing up a whale in a sea of acid. Imagine what I could do with that!
Ooh. Huh?
Well, it doesn't work that way.
What do you mean it doesn't work that way?
I knew you were going to say that. To find out, you need to know what exactly enzymes are and how they work. Whenever you're ready, click Next to continue. What are enzymes? They are proteins that speed up chemical reactions. Without them, reactions can still occur, but they would be too slow to support life. There are many different types of enzymes, and they come in all manner of shapes and sizes. For example, what you call the piranha enzyme is actually pepsin. It is only found in the stomach and digests proteins. In your mouth there is amylase, which breaks down starch. In your cells alone are hundreds of enzymes that control your cell activity and defend them from invasions by microbes like bacteria and viruses.
Get it.
Though enzymes can appear very different, they all share a few characteristics in common. Let's now take a look at what these are. Number 1. Each enzyme has an active site. This is the groove in the enzyme where the molecules they act on, called substrates, are captured and made to undergo a reaction. The substrates are either broken apart or combined together to form products. For instance, starch found in the bread that you eat is digested to form simple sugars called glucose that is then absorbed into the body. Glucose is used up as energy, but when there's too much of it, special enzymes combine the glucose molecules together to form a giant molecule called glycogen, which is then stored away in the liver and muscles for later use. Number 2. Enzymes are very specific. Each enzyme can only bind to one type of substrate. Let's look at the case of lipase enzyme, which breaks down fats. Molecules like glucose and proteins cannot fit into the active site of lipase. Only fat cells can bind to the active site because they have the right shape. This ability to act on just fat cells is very important for lipase. Lipase converts fats into energy. Now imagine what would happen if lipase can also convert proteins into neurochemicals for the brain to function well. If you no longer need the extra energy from your storage of fats, lipase will be deactivated. But this means that lipase can no longer produce precious neurochemicals for your brain. In other words, when you stop burning fats, you end up damaging your brain. To prevent such freakish scenarios from happening in our body, enzymes must only act on one type of molecule. Number 3, enzymes are recycled. Enzymes are not altered by the reactions they speed up. Immediately after they finish one reaction, they can act on a new substrate. This way, only a small amount of enzyme is needed to speed up thousands of reactions.